If you live in South Africa, you should be familiar with the concept of Chesa Nyama, the caravans on the side of the road that will do good value meals for working people in need of a fast food fix. But how many of us know the man who took the concept of Chesa Nyama and turned it into a business venture? This is the Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield. Tonight, I'm speaking to the founder and chief executive of Gold Brands, Stelio Nathanael. This Chesa Nyama thing's got me a little bit confused because I recall having a conversation with Kevin probably 5 years ago at Famous Brands, and he said, you know what, we've just bought the black steer and we're going to turn it into Chesa Nyama by Famous Brands, or black steer Chesa Nyama. And as he was talking about that, suddenly that logo on your chest started appearing everywhere. Did you hear him and you went, I'm going to beat him to it, or were you already in the works?
I think great minds think alike. Chesa Nyama, what I was thinking at that time was a staple diet of a South African is meat, our braai that we love so much. And I thought, okay, can we package a braai concept and put it into a franchise model? I never knew of Kevin at that time, of his Chesa Nyama. But I think the brand has gone from strength to strength.
How many Chesa Nyama stores are there?
At the moment, we're touching just over 300.
I mean, it's come in 5 or 6 years into quite a big franchise concept in the South African franchise environment.
It's a great brand. I think it's something that's the reason of its success is the consumers behind it that love the brand so much. They love the vibe of the brand. They love the tradition of Chesa Nyama, and bringing it from the township into the suburbs, into the doorsteps. I think that's where the success comes from.
But with a name like Stelios, you'll know that if you go to the Greek islands and you go to any taverna in any little cove, if you're lucky enough to sail around some of those islands, there's a braai fire going, and there are people braaiing. And there's souvlaki on the braai. It's a universal concept in South Africa, though. It's traditionally been the bit of meat that Pick n Pay is not prepared to sell ends up on a Chesa Nyama. It's tough. It's not particularly good. Have you taken this Chesa Nyama street concept and given it a twist?
We twisted the look and feel. My original dream was taking that concept, the tradition of a township concept, and putting it into a franchise model, into 100 square meters, and with unique flavors, the unique products where people would love. We took the brisket, we took the chuck, we took the chicken that most South Africans love as well, and giving it the flavors of your mild peri-peris, lemon and herbs. And I think the marinades that made most of our ribs that we love as well. I think that was a success of Chesa Nyama.
Oh, no, okay, so the Chesa Nyama story is one part of this Gold Brand story. I mentioned Kevin and Black Steer. He went very quiet on Black Steer for a long time, and if I go to the Famous Brands website recently, Black Steer doesn't feature anywhere there. I think there was an undoing of that particular deal, or the deal didn't ever go through. There was something went wrong.
Yeah, the Black Steer, we bought the brand beginning of this year.
Not from Famous Brands, though.
Not from Famous Brands.
From the original owners.
Yeah, and we took that to revive the Black Steer brand that was going since 1962. Was a big success. I think they grew to about 180 stores worldwide. They opened in Israel, they opened in Mauritius, in Indonesia. It was a great success. So
but what happened? It went horribly wrong, because from 180 stores worldwide, what are there today?
We took over one store, one original Black Steer store that was sitting in Lichtenburg. And that was the original Black Steer that was left since, I think, 2009. There was only one left. So we took that. I had the vision of creating that great Black Steer concept that we all grew up with in our young days. The first one opened in Yeovil. There was great ones on Louis Botha Avenue that everyone used to go to. The famous ribs, and we took that, we revived the concept.
But it's quite a gutsy thing to do, to take a brand that lives very firmly in your memory and in the very early stages of mine, and to go, you know what, we can take this concept. You love the brand, it's got this great brand concept that's got a connection somewhere in the deep recent past with the Halandades family, which also goes back to Famous Brands, and the Steers takeaway concept. I think there was a split between Black Steer and Steers, probably in the 60s or 70s. Yes. And to say we can revive something super retro. I mean, how much research have you done into whether or not the brand will have traction?
It was hard. I had to find the original marinades and the original basting sauces and the spices that made Black Steer so successful those days.
How, is it like the Colonel's secret spices was hidden away in a safe somewhere?
Yeah.
Where did you find that?
I'd find them, go back 40 years and go into the Greek traditions and the families and whatever, and go behind the scenes and find those marinades. Because when I bought the brand, there was no recipes, there was nothing about Black Steer. And then, managed to find them, and it's made it successful.
But just how vibrant is the steakhouse concept? Because we're seeing so many of these turn and tenders made a bit of a comeback. There have been attempts to sort of revive the steakhouse concept. There is a fair amount of competition. Spur recently bought the Cape Town concept Hussar to grow that as well. There is the Spur business as well. How much space is there in this sit-down, quite smart steakhouse, white linen and cutlery concept?
Yeah, with the Black Steer concept, my vision was not to go the upper end market like a turn and tender, more between a family and an upper end concept, and going to fit into that LSM market, and together with your businessman and your family at the end of the day for the evening trade, and I think that's where we hitting with the Black Steer brand.
At its peak, 180 worldwide, down to 1 when you bought it in 2009. Where are you now?
At the moment, we're sitting on 14 stores.
You've tucked them away quite well, because I haven't seen
stores.
one. Yeah.
All the way from Fourways to Pretoria North to the East Rand suburbs.
Okay, I see where you're positioning yourself.
We're trying to go around the Gauteng areas. We opening in October in Western Cape with 2 stores in Western Cape. We've had interest the past couple of weeks for Namibia, with a master franchise in Namibia, which we're looking at that brand. But we're looking at about 30 stores till the end of the year.
But it's interesting how there is still this hunger for food concepts, isn't it? I mean, in South Africa, the most successful franchising model utilized in probably around the world is probably food. Is there still really that much of a gap in various markets for food concepts?
I think there is a gap if you go unique to what you want to go and not copy any other brands or whatever, and go what the customer, what the consumer in South Africa wants, and give it to them and give it for value for money, give them a quality product. You can make a success of a good brand.
You're dabbling in pizza as well? That's brave, considering Debonair's, and now, of course,
brands coming in.
Taste Holdings has brought Domino's into this market, and I've seen some changes on the Scooters shop fronts.
Taste Holdings, I believe that'll do very well with Domino's brand. It's a great brand, and I think the people behind the Domino's brand in South Africa will make a good success of it. We've got a pizza, we're touching on the pizza brand, more of a 1+1 pizza brand, so buy one, get one free concept. And we're aiming at the lower LSM market and giving them the value for money brand.
The thing that stood out in the most recent Spur results was how quickly Panarottis had suddenly gone. Something has happened at Panarottis, and they've brought Panarottis to life, because for a long time that was quite a laggard in the Spur market. Kevin Hedderwick talks about his surprise at how successful Debonair's has been in the South African market, but because nobody anticipated the concept of sharing. And if you're going to spend 60 or 70 bucks on some food and you can share it with 2 or 3 or 4 people, suddenly you have a social occasion. And South Africans have adapted to that concept very well.
I agree. It's value for money, and I think the economy not doing so well this year as what it was last year in the past couple of years. I think family restaurants, whoever can come in and give a quality and value for money product, I think will make a great success of their brands.
Where are you positioning that one? What's your pizza brand?
1+1 pizza.
1+1. We see it's even in the name.
We're going into the more family areas, and
how do you differentiate a pizza market? Because Pizza Hut is here; they've attached themselves with Burger King. It all comes out of the Yum brand stable. Global brands, and suddenly you're saying 1+1. It's got a ring to it, but ultimately it comes down to.
What I'm trying to drive is creating more of a social, giving back to the communities with a 1+1 pizza, giving the drivers that can deliver pizzas to the market. Making them entrepreneurs, making them businessmen out of just being a delivery boy. So we're trying to put the 1+1 pizza into those markets, into the townships, into the neighborhoods and giving the people a chance to become part of the...
How is that playing out? Because SAB Miller, of course, was massively innovative with the owner-driver concept in terms of truck drivers, getting the drivers of the trucks to own the trucks, to take responsibility and therefore create their own businesses. Effectively, you're looking to do that with scooters.
We're trying to do the same with scooters or even with bicycles in the meantime, and making a sport out of it and making them enjoy themselves while they're building the entrepreneur out of themselves.
And how's that taking off?
That's doing very well.
I mean, what sort of feedback are you getting from the people who are participating? I mean, how much do you have to make off a single pizza delivery to actually start a business?
A pizza, they're making the 10 Rand delivery fee, plus 9 Rand per hour, plus their tip. And the more pizzas they deliver, the more money they're making.
Big calves on your delivery, guys. What a fascinating insight. The chief executive of Gold Brands, his name is Stelio Nathanael. Yeah, I wondered what had happened to the famous brand's concept of Chesa Nyama. It got overtaken by Stelio's Chesa Nyama, and with more than 300 stores around the country, it's growing at a fast pace. Then Black Steer also kind of disappeared off the radar, nearly off the map altogether, but he's bringing that with a concept that could go pan-African, as Africa's appetite for red meat, of course, shows no sign of abating either. Thank you for watching. There'll be more ways to make money, and whether or not you should salt your steak before you turn it. Do you salt your steak before you turn it?
No.
Never, never, never. Of course not. Good night and goodbye.